Hi everyone. This is Hassan Raza, and today I'm actually going to be going through the recording of how do you install the Avast endpoint security tool on your laptops. So, first of all, I want to put emphasis on what is endpoint security. Endpoint security is software that you install on your computers and your devices. And what this software does is protects it against cyber attacks. What are the typical cyber attacks that you need to be concerned about on your endpoints? These include um, malware installation. Um, it also stops, for example, an attacker can actually take over your laptop or your device, and basically, without you even knowing, they can actually execute programs. And this typically happens when you have a malware attack. You can have a ransomware attack as well. In a ransomware attack, what we typically see is your files get encrypted, then you have to pay a ransom and you get the files. But there's a whole bunch of other attacks that are happening on people's computers, but you never get to see them. Okay? So from an Openserv perspective, we are using Avast Endpoint Security. And what I would like to do today is walk you through the process of installing this software. What does it look like? And what do you need to think about? Okay. So I've already been through that installation and I've written a document that will show you the different steps and the different processes. And I'm going to walk you through the screenshots that I've collected. But before I do that, I'm actually going to go to the Avast website. Um, okay. Right, so I'm going to share my screen with you now. Sharing option. Okay, good. All right. So as you can see here, this is the document that I've prepared here. And the first step is you need this URL. So at Openserv, we've already bought the license for Avast, and you literally need to take this URL that you can see here, and we're going to put it on here. And what this should do is bring you to this screen here, right? So once you come to this screen, you can select the operating system that you're using. Okay, either you're using Windows, Mac, and all you need to do is basically click on the download. And what this will do is actually download the software onto your computer, and then you go through it. So let's go through the steps. As I said, I've already done it, so I've captured all the screenshots. So if, for example, you're on a Mac, what does that actually look like? So going back here. So if I select the Mac option, you just have to download this onto your Mac, really. Right, okay. Going to this document here then. So once you start your installation process, you've downloaded it, you've started the installation process, then what would happen, move that there, use the size so you can see it better. Right, so you have, so once it's fully downloaded, then you're going to get to this screen here, install, right? Now, if you notice, it says, do you install the Avast secure browser, right? Now, it's up to you if you want to do this. But what it does is that they have Avast provides this feature and it tells you what the browser does. It basically helps you hide your activities from advertisements, and then phishing sites and things like that. To be honest, it's up to you if you want to do it or not. So if you uncheck this, right, you're still okay. So once you're going through the installation process, you're going to get the screen here. You're going to see the bar basically moving as it's actually downloading all the software. So as you can tell, and then you're going to get a lot of useful information there. Right. Now, once you've actually installed it, right? Sorry, once you've actually downloaded and the installation process starts, it actually gives you this splash screen here. On this particular screen, it identified the trusted network. Like for example, in my case, this is my home internet connection, and I've selected that to be trusted, right? If, for example, you are working in a Wi-Fi, sorry, in a public Wi-Fi space, I would actually put that to untrusted. And what that will then do is actually put in some additional security controls. Okay, so you press continue, and then we go to the next stage here. So now you come to the second stage of the installation, right? At the second stage of the installation, we have these different options here. You have the remote access shield, the webcam shield, and the sensitive data shield, right? So the description is very clear, right? So my suggestion is to actually have all three of them because the remote access shield actually stops people connecting into your computer. So say, for example, you became victim to a malware incident, right? And the malware enables the attacker to connect to your computer. This is going to stop it from happening, right? Um, and then there's also another issue where people can take over your webcam. So the webcam shield will stop that from happening. And then we also have this thing called sensitive data shield. And this controls what, for example, you might have a lot of data that you want to hide from the outside world, right? And what the sensitive data shield does, it actually marks that data so that that data is not accessible to people who are in your computer, basically. Now, when I pressed continue there, it actually brought me to this sensitive document check. Now, I found this quite interesting because I'd never seen any software that has actually done this before. So here you have the sensitive document. So I ran it and then I stopped it and I skipped it. But then you can see here now it said, well, it identified 185 sensitive documents, right? And these are all the different documents. It's asking me to protect it, right? And I will explain to you later on what this protection means. But my suggestion to you is just stop that process and just go to skip because you don't need the data protection right now because we are still installing the software. Now, we come to the third stage of the process. Here, it's about what other protection do you want to put in place, right? So let me explain this. You have real site. So real site basically is you might have some malicious domains, right? And that have been taken over by attackers. What this protection does, it actually prevents you. So for example, if someone has taken Amazon.com and made a fake website out of it, this one protects you against that. And then also, if, for example, you're using your passwords in your application, it protects you against that. And also, it has this option of automated software updates. Now, my suggestion is please do not select this option because you should, your operating system by default will be doing software updates, right? Now, in this particular case, this is about third-party software updates and stuff. Now, if you're installing a lot of software from different vendors onto your computer, it's probably a good idea to understand what software you have on your computer first before looking at the update. So my suggestion is be careful with this option here. Now, once you're done with that, we get to the final stage where we run a smart scan, right? So now it says, now let's run your first smart scan with premium, right? What this smart scan is actually doing is actually scanning to find what are the problems that you have there. Now, if you see here, there are four categories: operating system issues, virus and malware scanning, advanced issues, and performance issues. So in my case, it found two problems with malware could be running in the memory and your notifications could be visible when you're away from your PC. To be honest, that's a low risk type issue, so I really didn't pay much attention to it, but this could be useful. Once the software is installed, I'll actually show you how to run these scans again, right? But for now, you just have to go through the process. Okay. Now, when you come to there, what it says here now, this is the part I really need you guys to understand. When you get to this screen here, it says, do you want to resolve all? Please, please, please do not select this option, right? Just do skip for now. Skip for now, because if you try to resolve it, you're basically telling a third party company or product, go and fix my computer problems. And that can actually lead to more problems for you, right? So what I would say is skip for now, right? And move on. Then we move to advanced issues, right? Advanced issues, this is just more information on the number of sensitive documents and all that stuff that we talked about earlier on. So we move on to that. So skip for now. Performance issues found. And then it found like performance issues on my computer. For example, the amount of files I have in system junk, stored clutter, and things like that. It just gives you visibility, right? So now we are at the stage where the software has been installed, right? And it's done the smart scan, and then you can close it. Okay. So now you're then going to come to this screen here. Well, do you want to explore premium security? What are the different features that it comes with, and all that stuff, right? So just complete the setup, and then just skip, just keep on doing maybe later, right? Because at this stage we just want to get it done. Then you get this stage called finish, right? Now, at this stage here, right, you're going to get this screen where it says the computer is protected, you run your smart screen, right? But at the bottom, right, keep in mind you've not actually put the license in yet, right? To put the license in, you need to click on the menu bar on the top, right? And you're actually going to get the next screen. The next screen basically says enter your activation code, right? So um, we have provided the activation code, and then you take that activation code and then you basically put it in here. So you get a blank screen says enter your activation code. You then enter your activation code, you get that there, and then you get a success screen. So now your Avast has been installed on your computer, and this is your subscription, right? This subscription is valid till the 4th of August, 2026. Okay, right. So now if you keep going on, you're going to get another screen. Do you want to subscribe now? Please do not create an account because the security team already has an account here. So please do not create your Avast account here. Okay, this is something that we are managing centrally, and we don't want multiple accounts. So just press close there. Okay, right. So the good news is you have now installed Avast, right? So what can this do for you? Okay, let's take a look at the product, right? So this is what it, sorry, where did I put it here? So here, so now that you've installed Avast, right, you're going to basically have a whole bunch of options, right? Status. So you have here, so this is the menu screen I was talking about, enter activation code, right? And this is where you do it. So now this is your console window, right? So um, let's take a look at this protection option because I think that you will find this very useful. So if you click on here for the protection option, let's click on virus scans, right? So here you can actually run a virus scan yourself, right? You can run a smart scan or you can run a full virus scan. You can do a targeted scan on specific folders, or you can actually set up the option where each time you boot up your computer, right, you run the scan. Okay. So this is definitely something I would encourage you to do, right? Now, here's another one here for core shields, right? So here, this is actually how do you block your computer against malware, right? You can actually see here that you can toggle between on and off for file shield. Do you want to scan your files on a regular basis? Once it's, sorry, uh, anytime you open a file, right? Avast can actually scan the file and see if there's any malware on it, right? And then it will also check your applications to see if there's any behavioral issues. Mail shield. So I've actually enabled all of these things because I think it's important, but it's up to you if you want to enable these, but these features are available to you. If you go to your quarantine, right? In your quarantine thing, you can actually add files here, right? So if, for example, you find a harmful file, you can actually upload that file here, and that would actually effectively protect it. Okay. Now, this is an example of the network inspector. As you can see here, I'm connected to my home network, but I can actually scan my network for vulnerabilities, right? Not that you really need it in what you're doing, but if you're interested in this kind of stuff, it's easy to do. Now, you see here the firewall profile. It's trusted, untrusted. So I've actually created trusted. So now the I'm actually in a safe zone. So if I move this to untrusted, then the firewall becomes active, and it would then actually start deploying the firewall rules for all that stuff, right? Now, I want to draw your attention to this thing called the Secure Line VPN. So this is a service you can buy, and each time you connect to to the internet from a public network, you can use a VPN connection, but you have to pay for this for yourself. This is not a service that is provided by Openserv. Okay. Right. Let's take a look at Ransomware Shield. Now, this is really cool because here you have a whole bunch of folders, right? So I can actually say, you know what? I want to protect. Which folder do I want to protect? So say if I select this one, right? So at the moment it says one folder select stop protecting, or I can actually at the moment it's protecting all my folders because I've got the ransomware shield on. But if I didn't have the shield on, so if I had done this, if I just actually, I shouldn't don't want to do that, but you can actually turn off the ransomware shield, and then you can actually select specific folders. So my suggestion to you is please keep your ransomware shield on at all times, and then by default, all your folders are protected. If for some reason you want to turn it off, you can turn it off, and then you can select individual folders. Okay, but from an OpenServe perspective, please enable this ransomware shield. Firewall, right? So you get the firewall, you come here, right? So these are all my firewall all applications that are subject to the firewall. As you can see here, all my browsers, Slack, you know, all my different applications are there, right? Now I can actually go to my networks. It's actually telling me what it's firewalling. So in a way, you can actually have some of these things here, right? What do you want to firewall off? So for example, if I wanted to block Microsoft Edge, right, I could do that. Now this is really useful. If, for example, you want to block a particular application, right, you can actually do that yourself. All you need to do is click on firewall, select the application that you want, right, and then you can block it. Okay. If you want to take a look at the logs, sorry, if for example you have any applications you've blocked, you can actually see the ones you've blocked, and so that provides some useful information. Now, another really useful feature is this thing called bank mode, right? So when you actually run in bank mode, as it says here, it actually creates like a virtual desktop, and this with this you can actually access your banking site. Okay. There are other options, and then you can do that. So for example, if I want to connect to my run to bank mode, right? So now I'm here. So now I can actually go to my bank. Okay. So now I'm in bank mode, right? So no one can see the data that I put in. So say, for example, my laptop is compromised or whatever, the third threat actor will never be able to see what I'm doing here. Okay. So now because it creates a virtual desktop for you. So this is something that I would highly suggest to you guys to think about, right? Uh, right. Okay. What has happened here? Um, right, technical error. Right, right. I probably need to close this window. Avast. Right. So sorry about that. For some reason, it didn't do that work really well when I was trying to get out of it. Now, this is something that I would highly suggest you do, remote access shield. Please, please make sure you have this, right? What this basically means is that no one can connect to your PC remotely, right? So if, for example, you end up accidentally downloading some kind of malware on your computer, the remote access shield will prevent somebody from logging onto your computer, okay? Last but not least, sandbox, right? So say, for example, you're unsure of an application, right? You can actually then run it in a sandbox. You can select the application that you want, and then that runs in isolation so that it doesn't impact anything. So I would suggest if you're trialing a new piece of software, you can go into sandbox mode and you can run it in a sandbox mode. So so there you go, guys. This is Avast Premium Security provided by Openserv. Um, it has some amazing features in it, and we feel that if you have this on your computer, you'll be adequately protected. Of course, you are the front line of security for Openserv, and we trust that you will be making the right choices when you access websites, applications. And if you have any questions, please contact me, Hassan Raza, or you can send us an email at security@openserve.ai. Or if you want to talk to um, other members of the team, Arman, you can talk to Arman as well, or you can talk to Gia as well, who's actually administering this program as well. But yeah, so thank you very much.